everyone. So we're Freedom Aviation Network. My name's Jared Miller.
And I'm Stephanie Lamar, and we are a volunteer pilot organization, and we primarily work with survivors of human trafficking and transporting them out of their situation to where they need to go.
And our goal is to eliminate the transportation barrier for survivors of human trafficking. So what we do is we provide safe, efficient, and rapid air transportation for survivors and their advocates. We look to recruit volunteer pilots who can fly under public benefit flying, use their own aircraft, volunteer their own time and their availability to be able to do that. We also look to charter companies to be able to donate empty legs and to work with us to be able to provide longer haul flights or multiple passenger flights. And then we are also looking to the commercial aviation industry, to the airlines, to be able to donate seats and to be able to donate tickets for the times when survivors need different levels of access to transportation, because it's not a one-size-fits-all solution for each case. It takes all kinds, and it takes the entire aviation industry to be able to make this happen. Since this is a new solution that's never been done before in the world, we're asking and calling on the aviation industry to rally behind this, to say we care so much about people restoring value to human life that we as an aviation industry want to get behind this, and we want to see this take off to the next level, even globally one day very soon.
So some of our biggest challenges with doing what we do is having enough pilots on board. So when we send out a flight request, we just did a request from Dallas to Orlando just last week. I only had two pilots in Dallas. So thankfully one of them picked up the flight, but if we don't have enough pilots involved, we don't have, the infrastructure to offer this to more nonprofits. And so right now we don't advertise to the nonprofits because we're growing too fast with word of mouth through them, but not with the pilot onboarding. Also, I think it's important that we have female pilots. I know there's not a lot of us out there, but if we could get behind this and really be women who are empowering women, when we pick up one of these survivors and they see it's a woman who is flying them, that's very empowering for them. Not just this flight to freedom for them, but that they see us in a role that is elevated and that they can look at us as a role model for where they can go. So that is really big for us. Other challenges, of course, with any nonprofit are financial and technology. We don't have the technology to do what we need to do. So a lot of it is done by hand. That takes up a lot of our time and our hours. So always volunteer pilots. And you can get involved even if you're just a CFI. And I don't say just a CFI, but we know we're not making all that money. We don't have our own aircraft. We don't always able to rent an aircraft. But when I started this, I was a CFI. And I took on this mission and I did it with my students' help. So I would just have one of my students come in. They would want to do this mission with me, and I'd ask them if they wanted to do it. And so I'd donate my time, but then they would pay for the cost of the flight. So this can be done if you're interested in helping. So we're here at Women in Aviation this week, really hoping to gather a lot of support and inspire younger women to get involved with nonprofits and with the missions that we have. One of the things when I started this is that the human trafficking is the #2 industry in the United States. People don't realize how much is out there. And when I started, I'm like, how is this really helping? I only moved one person. There are a lot of companies here that could be sponsors. Our first sponsor has been Signature Aviation. And we offer education. So we would be happy to come to talk to universities and let the next generation know, hey, this is a problem in our nation and in our communities. This is how you can help. So we're happy to get the word out in that way as well. We got started with Jared and I. I knew Jared for a long time, and he's worked in the counter-human trafficking sphere, and I was working at another nonprofit that we were dealing with an impoverished neighborhood, and we had a girl go missing. That's not something that we were equipped to handle, so I went to Jared, and he helped me get this girl back where she needed to be. And in that process, he was like, we had a transportation issue in this area. And so we came up with the idea of starting a volunteer pilot organization. It had never been done before in this sphere. We've done it with Pilots and Paws, moving dogs. We've done it with medical groups, but never for victims of crime. And so this is very different. It's a little You're not going to have that doctor's appointment a month out. So these are more immediate flights. They're more emergency. You're dealing with people that are having difficulties. The flights can get canceled because maybe that shelter doesn't have a room anymore. A lot of logistics on both sides. And how can this be done safely and safe for the pilots as well? I mean, we have to make sure we're not transporting someone when they can't go across state lines, like with minors. We have to get permission to move them. So we work with these nonprofits, and they're taking on that responsibility of this person so we can just deal with transport. And we're helping to really embrace this industry and keep them strong so they're not using all their resources to transport someone. They can really just deal with the care. For me, it was like just seeing women in this situation. If all they need to get out of their situation is a ride, I'm going to give them a ride. And, I can't be where I am today, being through things that I was gone through when I was younger, and saying there were adults around me at that time who could have said, hey, let's get you out of this situation. I'm not going to be that adult who stands here today and doesn't say, I'm not going to help. I'm going to go in there, I'm going to help. And if that's all it takes is a ride, let's give you a ride.